It all started with a package from PLAYTIME company, which the courier left on my doorstep on an early, foggy morning. I thought it was just rare archival toy samples, but I soon realized. It all started with this heavy box that the morning courier left right on the wooden doorstep of my house. Sunlight flooded the living room as I carefully cut through the industrial tape with scissors, wondering what was inside. The first one I took out was Dizzy Boo Boo, an incredibly soft toy with bright fur and a very friendly look in its large eyes. Also in the box were Doodlebones and Bindle Boogie, who looked completely harmless in their snow-white packaging. I carefully arranged the collectible figures of Blanky Blanks and Loopsy Noodle on the shelf, admiring their high-quality craftsmanship. Evening came, and I settled comfortably on the couch as the shadows from the bookshelf began to stretch slowly and strangely. Subscribe so that more videos like this come out. Suddenly, the water in the glass began to ripple faintly, and then the glass itself slid across the table surface. The beam of my flashlight caught a torn pillow, from which a long trail of white stuffing led into the deep darkness. Hooper Goods sat in its place, but its head was tilted at an unnatural angle, and its fur felt ice cold. In the morning, I discovered complete chaos in the kitchen, and Doodlebones was sitting right in a puddle of spilled breakfast cereal. To solve the mystery, I set up my smartphone on a tripod, hoping to catch the nighttime visitor on camera. On the grainy night vision footage, Dizzy Boo Boo could be seen suddenly leaning forward and silently sliding off the shelf. I woke up to a rustling sound and aimed my flashlight at the heavy curtain, behind which a small blue paw darted past. In the hallway, I stumbled upon Loopsy Noodle lying face down. Its glass eyes reflected the cold light of my flashlight. Suddenly, the light flickered, and the toy's shadow on the wall turned into a fanged monster, even though the figure itself remained perfectly still. Hooper Goods suddenly transformed. Its friendly smile became an aggressive snarl, and its eyes blazed with a fierce, ominous red fire. Deep scratches appeared on the doorframe, and tufts of bright fur stuck in the splinters, leading straight into the ventilation. On the shelf, there remained only an empty spot where Bindle Boogie used to sit, and a quiet child's laughter echoed through the room. I tried to isolate Doodlebones by taping it to a chair, but the toy began to pulsate, literally shrinking inside its own shell. The evil version of Blanky Blanks led an entire army of shadows with red eyes which began to slowly surround me in the hallway. The archival report stated that these creatures could invert their matter on a molecular level, completely replacing familiar reality. I witnessed Dizzy Boo Boo flipping inside out, pulling in its good fabric and releasing its evil fur. In the laundry room, Loopsy Noodle began weaving a strange web of blue yarn as the washing machine rattled violently in the darkness. I locked one of them in a steel toolbox, hoping the heavy padlock would hold it. The entire toolbox became covered in frost and began to vibrate, and from inside came a horrifying laugh that blended the voices of all the toys. Bindle Boogie pretended to be torn and helpless by the staircase, but in the reflection of the floor, I saw its true, predatory silhouette. During a thunderstorm, the flashes of lightning revealed a terrible truth. The room was filled with hundreds of evil versions of my new toys. In despair, I grabbed the poker and headed to the fireplace, where Blanky Blanks was already waiting for me, reflecting the flames in its eyes. The toy was consumed by the fire, but instead of ashes, its dark form rose from the flames, letting out a piercing metallic screech. The red-hot monster stepped out of the fireplace, leaving smoking trails behind it, and the room filled with a deep... I tried to drown Loopsy Noodle in the sink, but a strong clawed paw emerged from the water, gripping me with a deathly hold. In the kitchen, Hooper Goods began to pulsate inside the running microwave, causing the internal light to flicker wildly. After the explosion, the entire kitchen was covered in sticky slime. Bindle Boogie climbed onto the blade of the ceiling fan, turning its rotation into a mad red vortex from its glowing eyes. Dizzy Boo Boo began tearing its own face apart, revealing beneath it a complex mechanism of gears and sharp porcelain teeth. In the basement, Doodlebones had woven a massive trap of threads, which instantly tightened around my arm, pulling me deeper. I tried to study Blanky Blanks under a magnifying glass, hearing a heart beating quickly and distinctly inside its plush body. The sound of an old lullaby made their smiles tremble in convulsions, as if the music was the only thing keeping them from fully transforming. I tried to play blocks with them to preserve their good forms, but the toys only left deep dents in the wood. Artificial laughter from the speakers caused them to glitch visually, making their fabric flicker and spew clouds of toxic purple smoke. Under Doodlebones' fur, I found a secret lock, behind which, instead of stuffing, there were mechanical vertebrae that let out a sharp electronic shriek. Through the keyhole, I saw all 6 toys standing in a perfect circle, breathing heavily and synchronously at my door. An old photograph slid under the door and began bleeding ink right in my hands, reminding me of my forgotten past. The fruit on the table instantly rotted around Hooper Goods, and the tablecloth itself began to turn into the same coarse green fabric. A gentle voice from the ventilation called my name until the blue fur crackled and transformed into dark, matted wool. The wallpaper began to peel away, revealing beneath it a pulsating wall of living plush, in which a huge red eye suddenly opened. The hallway became endlessly long, and Dizzy Boo Boo stood at the end, watching as the walls around me also began to flip. On the plate, instead of food, lay tangled neon threads that began unraveling my clothes the moment I touched them with my fork. The shadow theater in the basement came to life. Bindle Boogie's flat shadow gained flesh and began scratching the floor with its real claws. The ceiling turned into a soft blue mass from which an ominous Loopsy Noodle descended on a thin thread right in front of me. The TV screen showed my house, in which the toys were methodically tearing apart everything alive, throwing out mountains of colorful stuffing. The garage was filled with thousands of boxes, and each one, as I approached, would flip open, turning into a deadly steel trap. Thin glowing threads stretched toward my hands, and I felt myself becoming a puppet in the paws of the evil Doodlebones. The hallway walls became covered with hundreds of blinking eyes, and a drop of thick, black machine oil dripped from the plush surface. My shoelaces turned into yarn roots as Doodlebones sewed my foot to the floor with a bone needle. The staircase turned into giant soft tongues, and Loopsy Noodle's long arms blocked my last path to escape above. The refrigerator grew green fur and vomited a whole avalanche of hundreds of its tiny, joyful, good copies onto the floor. The bedroom turned into a giant maw, and my shadow on the wall continued to scream, though I myself no longer felt fear. The attic became a forest of plush strips where Bindle Boogie jumped onto my back, finally plunging my mind into darkness. My fingers began to melt, turning into neon wax, from which new tiny paws were born right on the floor. 6 toys touched me all at once, and I felt my human form finally disappear in a whirlwind of purple smoke. The furniture in the living room arranged itself in a circle, and Blanky Blank spread out on the floor like a giant carpet of living dark fur. Doodlebones sealed all the exits from the house with strong threads that hummed like sharp guitar strings when tightened. Dizzy Boo Boo's face took the place of the old grandfather clock face, its pendulum now spewing clouds of colorful stuffing. Loopsy Noodle hung from the ceiling, its paw appearing good in the light but instantly turning into a clawed limb in the shadows. Bindle Boogie held a creepy tea party in the kitchen, treating torn dolls to thick syrup that visibly turned into fabric before their eyes. Hooper Goods arranged frames with photographs of happy toys, hiding real mold and thick cobwebs behind the glass. All 6 froze at the doorstep, turning their heads in unison at the sound of a car pulling up.